Good afternoon and welcome to Orient Live here at the E10 studio. Now the O's are somewhat struggling for form and looking to pick up their first win of the calendar year, but the opposition today, an informed Mansfield town, looking to make it a record 8 wins this afternoon, so it's certainly going to be a tasty affair. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Brendan Pitcher and Andrew Butler for this one. And on paper, Andrew, it certainly does look like a very tough one.
Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit. Obviously, our form has left quite a bit to be desired, whilst Mansfield, since we've played them here and drew a fairly kind of dismal 0-0 in the autumn, have gone on and absolutely rocketed up the league. Because not only is it 7 wins on the bounce for them, it's 10 wins out of their 11 in the league as well. So a remarkable turn in form for them. It's going to be a tough match, and you know there's no getting away from it. Port Vale was an okay test for us last Saturday here, and 0-0 we looked a bit rusty. Newport, again, a team above us in the table, and they won by the finest of margins, but it still wasn't a brilliant performance from us. And this is going to be a real test for us this afternoon.
It certainly will be, and as Andrew just alluded to, there are a couple of tough home games, Brendan. Even if we take away the recent form, Orient on the whole have only won 1 game on the road this season. We haven't had an away league game for a little while, and I think we've maybe forgotten some of the struggles we've had on the road. Today is a really good opportunity to maybe put that right.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, 1 away win all season isn't good enough for this stage of the season, and Kenny will know that, and they're going to look to improve that. You've got 2, you spoke about tough home games and we didn't perform well. Well, now you've got to kind of make up for that by changing your away form against 2 really good away sides coming up. Today is about as tough as you can get in League 2 at the minute. Mansfield are absolutely flying, but it's a good test. You want these kind of tests if you're Kenny Jackett, because it's the perfect opportunity to go and make a real statement and put us right back into that playoff contention.
Certainly is, and Kenny's made some tough decisions and he's made some big calls as well for today's starting lineup as he looks to change the O's fortunes. So let's take a look at the starting 11 for Orient this afternoon. The mainstay in goal is number 22, Lawrence Figueroa. Number 5, Dan Happy returns. Number 7, Paul Smith. Number 9, Harry Smith. 11, Theo Archibald also returns from injury. 14, one of the new January signings, Otis Khan. 15, Alex Mitchell, wearing the armband this afternoon. Number 19, Omar Beckles. Another one returning to the squad is number 20, Ruel Sotirio. And making his second start for the O's after his debut on Tuesday night, Jordan Brown, number 32. And making his debut after he is now fully registered to play is number 34, Ethan Coleman. And on the subs bench for the O's, Sam Sargent, Adam Thompson, Dan Kemp, Dan Moss, Aaron Drynan, Matt Young and Hector Cipriano. So just on initial viewing of that, Andrew, it's 5 changes. And does that, to you, say that maybe Kenny knows that something has to change?
I think so. I mean, I'm pleased to see it myself. He said after the game on Tuesday, we have to look at doing something different, and so making those changes clearly it has brought about what he thinks will be making the difference this afternoon. That game against Port Vale last Saturday and the game against Newport, no one will be happy with kind of the outcome of the game, for one, but also the manner in which people perform. So I think we had to try something different. They're bold changes. I'm very, very pleased that Theo Archibald's back in. He has been a huge miss while he's been out injured. Coleman and Brown in the middle will be interesting as well, because they're kind of still unknown quantities as well as far as we're concerned. They've only just joined the club, so whether or not we get overrun in that centre mid position, we wait and see. But also at the same time, if you're a new player coming into the club, you really want to make that position your own. So it will be. I think I can't remember the last time we made 5 changes, maybe for Tranmere in fact. But that was all kind of due to COVID related reasons. That. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but perhaps making those 5 changes will be something that Mansfield kind of haven't taken into account. They might have looked at the way that we've been performing, the lineups that we've been putting out, and planned for that. But yeah, we'll see.
We certainly will see. And let's linger on Ethan Coleman, who you've picked up just there. He's partnering Jordan Brown, who had quite a positive evening on Tuesday against Newport. What are you expecting from Ethan?
Yeah, well, obviously I haven't seen a lot of him. I haven't watched a lot of National League football, but from everything I've heard, he sounds like a one of those players who everyone earmarked in the game who knew or had seen him as one to make the step up into the Football League. And he seems to be kind of that composed midfielder who'll break up the play and keep things ticking over. And I think that's something that we perhaps lacked. And now with Craig Clay injured, it's the perfect opportunity for those two signings, Jordan Brown and Ethan Coleman, in there to make a real impact. And it's an inexperienced kind of midfield partnership, but it's also going to be kind of a fearless one because of that inexperience. They're going to be hungry to take their chance. Neither of them have played, well, I think neither of them played much in the Football League at all, so it's a great opportunity for them and they'll be looking to grasp it with both hands.
It certainly will be maybe tough for them, but they're coming up on an informed Mansfield side, and they're both relatively young, not many league appearances between them. It's a gamble from Kenny, and one that is quite exciting to see how it pays off.
It will be, it's always exciting when you have new players coming into the team. Coleman and Brown, we wait and see if there's any sauce in the midfield, because I've heard one of them's mustard, but do you like that, Ollie?
It's 7 out of 10.
Okay, all right. Going back to the matter in hand, though, it will be interesting to see how they perform. I mean, Brendan's completely right. Like, not much Football League experience, and new signings to the club as well. Hopefully, I mean, we can only cross our fingers in this regard that they have bedded into the squad. Obviously, Kenny's making what I think are quite a bold call to just not keep Kyprianou in there, who has been playing most of the season in that position, but he's dropped to the bench this afternoon, so putting essentially two brand new players who, especially in a system like this, need to know each other's game as well. It could go well. We wait and see.
We certainly will wait and see, but we'll move on from that Solskjaer as well quite quickly, Andrew. But we'll looking back to maybe where you could pinpoint Orient's downturn in form would probably be around the time that Tom James picked up his injury. Theo also picked up an injury around a similar time, and Orient haven't played amazingly since then. Theo returns today. Otis is at the right wing back. How key is it to have those attacking fullbacks and that drive from those positions for this setup to be successful?
Yeah, in this formation, like you said, the wing backs are the absolute key. They're your outlet. You're going to be playing to them, and they get you up the field, and then also provide quality from out wide. Look, you talk about people like Harry Smith and Aaron Drinan haven't had much of an impact recently. That's mostly because they haven't had many crosses into the box for them to feed off. And I think with two wing backs, like Andrew mentioned earlier, it's a bold call because they are more ostensibly attacking players than defensive, so it's bold to go away to Mansfield, who are in such good form, and Kenny's not trying to shut up shop today. I think he's going for 3 points with these wing backs, and I think they're going to push us up the field, be direct, run at their opposite fullback, and try and get crosses in, which is kind of where we've lacked recently. I think we haven't got enough crosses into the box, we haven't got the balls into wide areas enough, and if we can feed those two players, that's going to be the key to us being successful going forward today.
I think something that needs to be said as well is just having Theo in there and having Otis. The pace is something that we've also been lacking, and it's not just kind of pace for pace's sake. It's just driving forward, making the game exciting, trying to do something with the ball as well, which is, I just feel like we've been quite lacking in recent games. Brendan's completely right. We haven't been getting enough crosses in the box for Drinan and Smith. And it's probably because of that. We haven't had players who've been able to just like carry the ball and just be kind of just a bit more enterprising, and that's exactly what Theo has proved that he can do at left wing back. Of course, he's been found wanting occasionally in his defensive duties when he's been playing there, but we have to be bold, we have to be brave playing against a team that's won 10 out of 11. Most fans are probably expecting us to have a really tricky game. Most Mansfield fans are probably expecting them to win because of the form that we've been in. So we have to kind of try and play them at their own game, fight really hard and be brave this afternoon, because we've lost, what is it, five of our 6 losses this season have been by a single goal margin. Now look, I don't advocate losing by any more than that, but like you want to be able to show that we can create chances as well, because in the last 2 games it hasn't been good enough. We haven't been creating enough chances, and you just want us to be just a little bit braver and really go for it.
And we'll come on to the O's attacking options in a second, but just sticking on that defence, because there's another slight tweak with Dan Happy coming in for Shad Oji. Now, Shad's obviously just recently signed a new deal at the club, which is fantastic news. Not in the squad at all today, so you expect that's a knock. Do you think there's any other tactical thinking behind that change of bringing Happy in over Thompson, say?
I think it's just Happy's left-footed. It's probably easier for him to slot in. I think if Tomo comes in, do you try and put Beckles out on that left side? And then that kind of switches it all around completely. I think the natural kind of player to slot in is Dan Happy. He can go on that left side. He's very comfortable. We all know how good he is passing the ball out from the back, and that's going to be key today. If he can kind of feed Theo Archibald a little bit more and release the ball to him, or do a diagonal one to Otis Khan that we all know he's got in his locker, that's going to be key today. I think fundamentally he's got to do the defensive job well, but I think playing out from the back today could also be key for him.
And on that defensive job, because obviously he spent a little bit of time on the sidelines, it's a big game for Dan today to come in and show what he's about and how he can help the team start winning games. Yeah,
and it's especially tough because I think it's Mansfield have scored the most at home this season, 25 goals as well. So, and they've been, they haven't been scoring for fun away from home. Their stadium has kind of become a bit of a fortress for them. So, coming into a game like this, you're expecting Mansfield probably most people will be expecting Mansfield to be scoring this afternoon. So yeah, it will be tricky for him. Hopefully he's fresh. Hopefully he's not suffered from the rustiness that we have seen in the squad in the last couple of games. But yeah, all the best to him.
Absolutely, and the last change that we need to talk about, Brendan, is up top. Ruel Sotiriou's getting a chance in the starting lineup. He scored some good goals this season. He maybe hasn't had tons and tons of minutes. Do you think he might add that little bit of dynamism that we've been missing in weeks of late, and he'll offer something different alongside Big Smith and Little Smith today?
Yeah, I think I've said it before. I think he's the most natural finisher at the football club, and when we're struggling a little bit to create chances at the minute, you might not make a great deal, especially away from home against a good side in the division. You're going to need to take your chances, and maybe that's the thinking behind it today. I mean, Aaron Drynan's been excellent this season, but just perhaps maybe looked a little bit leggy in the last couple of games. We know how hard he works. Maybe he just needs a breather, and you bring in Sotiriou, who's a player with great quality, who, like I've said about Ethan Coleman and Jordan Brown, be chomping at the bit to try and take his chance. And he's one of those players where if he gets even half a chance, we saw from those goals against Bradford and Forest Green earlier in the season, he's going to take that chance. He's a deadly finisher, isn't he?
Oh, he really is. And he offers something quite different, Andrew, alongside Big Smith, who's obviously your target man. Little Smith is so good with the ball at his feet, and Sotiriou's just got that unexpected nature about him. It's a front three that we haven't seen much of at all this season, and it's one that are you excited to see what they can bring? I'm
excited to see anything different. I mean, drawing blanks in the last couple of games, in fact, and then if you include the Stoke game, in which we did create a lot of opportunities, and Ruel probably arguably should have scored in there in that game as well. It's exciting just to see something different as well. We've said this about Ruel in the last, probably 2-3 years now, actually. He needs to kind of just take his opportunity. He really needs to stamp his authority on this team and in this club, because we're all fans of him because he's come through the academy. But if he can just add goals, if he can show that his consistency in getting goals and contributions on the pitch, then he'll want to be pushing for a starting place as well. Of course, Smith and Drynan have been absolutely outstanding in terms of the goals that they've been scoring. We haven't seen anything like that in a few years. So it's always going to be tricky for Ruel to break into that kind of front three. But there's nothing to say that he can't. And so getting a goal would help. Showing that he can do something or offer something different would be useful as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it because yes, it is a different front three, and also one that probably is needed.
Well, hopefully that front three will bring the O's some more joy in front of goal this afternoon. But now let's take a look at the O's opposition for today's game in the shape of Mansfield Town. So in goal for the Stags, number 1, Nathan Bishop. 4, Elliot Hewitt. 35, John Joe O'Toole. Number 12, Ollie Hawkins. Number 3, Stephen McLaughlin. Number 25, Ryan Stirk. 8, Ollie Clark. 16, Stephen Quinn. 10, George Maris. Number 18, Reece Oates. And ex-Orient striker number 9, Jordan Bowery. And on the bench for the Stags this afternoon, Steck, Narty, Perch, Wallace, Law, Akins and Danny Johnson. Hopefully that man doesn't cause us any trouble off the bench. But looking at that lineup, Andrew, you know, I think the fact that they've gone so many games winning says it all of what a side they are. But who really stands out for you in that lineup?
I mean, yeah, Quinn. It has to be. Stephen Quinn's been superb for them so far this season, as well as Ollie Hawkins as well. Also been really excellent for them so far this season. Mansfield have had a really strange, a very strange season in that, you know, Nigel Clough has been their manager for a bit, and they had a terrible start to the season. They were expecting to do more from it, and essentially what happened is that he just stuck to his guns. He was saying no, and people were accusing him of just being too stubborn and saying he can't change up anything, and he was just saying no, like trusted his system, trusted his players, and then it just clicked. And I've seen interviews with him recently where he's just said no, and then something just clicked, and the players just knew how to play with each other and get the wins under the belt, and it's really paid dividends. But Quinn has been excellent for them this season, and certainly one that kind of causes me a bit of nerves.
Well, hopefully we can keep him quiet. But what do you expect from Mansfield in terms of how they'll play the beautiful game?
I think they tend to play a 4-3-3, although looking at their starting lineup today, it could possibly even be a diamond in there with 2 strikers, but I think it might be a 4-3-3. But they're a very energetic side. They'll get the ball forwards. They score a lot of goals, like Andrew said. They're the highest scorers at home in the league, and they really go cause us problems. I think their strengths are in that midfield. That 3 in midfield are excellent players. I think Andrew touched on Stephen Quinn there. I think last season we had Wes Houlihan in League Two, who's a former Premier League player, former Republic of Ireland international, who kind of led Cambridge promotion. I think Stephen Quinn could do a very similar job today for Mansfield, because he typifies what Nigel Clough's about. He's kind of, Nigel Clough took him from Burton, which he's done for a lot of this squad. He trusts him, and he does the hard graft, he does the dirty work, but he also has real quality on the ball as well.
For sure, and you know, we're talking about how good Mansfield are, Andrew, and you know, Orient may be struggling for form, you could say. But this is Orient. You look at the teams that we've picked points. You look at the teams that we've picked points up against, and you look at the teams that we've dropped points to. So you know, there's just no calling it. And you're still quite hopeful.
Yeah. Well, you have to be. We have had an incredibly peculiar season. We've got the second best goal difference in the league, which is usually a decent barometer of, you know, a team doing well. Yet we're sitting in the bottom half of the league. We haven't won a game by a single goal margin this season. As I said earlier, 5 of our 6 defeats have been by a single goal. So, you know, yes, there's been definitely parts which have been incredibly frustrating and disappointing. And on Tuesday, we just didn't create nearly enough. But we haven't had any of those games where we're like, all right, I feel nervous in going into the last 5 minutes because we're 1 goal to the good. You know, I never thought I'd miss those sort of feelings, but I do miss them this season because we haven't felt it. So how do we assess what's happened this season is incredibly tough, because we shouldn't be there in the bottom half of the table because we've got the quality. We've got probably one of the best squads assembled in recent years here. Of course, we've also been kind of knocked a little bit by COVID for not, you know, and nothing to do with us as well. So that's been a real shame. And then the injuries have really impacted us, with losing Craig Clay and Tom James. Like I said last week, you know, you can't underestimate how much of a struggle that will be for us, and as a knock-on effect. But you have to deal with those sort of things, and that is, to use a cliche, that is football. So it's I'm hopeful, yes, for the game today. Of course, it's going to be incredibly tough, but you know, this could be, if it goes well for us, it could be one of those things that really turns the season around for us again.
Hopefully you're right on that one, Andrew. And as you've just seen on the screen, and as Andrew mentioned, the O's are currently in the bottom half of the League 2 table, but hopefully that will change very soon, and hopefully the O's can start picking up some points. And one man who'll be very hopeful of that as well is Kenny Jackett. We caught up with him earlier in the week to get his thoughts ahead of the game.
Well, Kenny, defeated midweek, but a chance to put that right this Saturday.
Yeah, there is. 6 games ago, we beat Swindon 4-1, and since then our form's been poor. The 4 league games and obviously the FA Cup game as well, where we did play pretty well up at Stoke, but we've obviously lost. So it's been a bad run. There are reasons for that, injuries and some COVID, but and the gap in between has left people being rusty. But other sides have that as well. Other teams have injuries. We've got to evolve. We've got to find a different way if we need to do that. We do need 1 or 2 people back, yes, but we'll get those back. And then, as I said, we've got to evolve and find a different way. We shouldn't be frightened of anybody. They look tough away games, definitely at Mansfield and Bradford coming up, but they're the best games. We need to rise to it, and as I said, make sure we evolve and keep working hard to find a winning equation, because although it's been a disappointing last couple of games, everything's still there for us in the second half of the season.
The test won't come too much tougher than Mansfield at the moment at this level. We're on a really good winning run.
Yeah, they are, and they're a good side. But similarly, I don't worry about the opposition too much. We need to get our own team right. I always believe that if we get our own side right, we'll beat anybody and wherever, and that's the case. So my concentration's on ourselves. Of course, I've a lot of respect for Mansfield, and they're a strong club in League 2 and have been for a while, and are this season. I understand that.
I imagine that amongst your concerns are the fact that your strike partnership, Harry Smith and Aaron Ginn, who had scored so many goals, are probably a bit more limited at the moment in terms of the chances they're getting. Yeah,
but on the plus side, it's good to see Paul Smith now. Looking at him this morning, absolute full strength, which is an addition for us as well. We have Raul Satorio and also both of those guys that, Smith and Drinnan have thrived off crosses, and a lot of their goals have been the result of directly scoring from a cross or regaining the ball from a very good crossing position and scoring from that. So and that's dried up for us. We haven't been able to get the ball into the wide areas necessarily. We haven't been able to recycle it and ultimately then get the crosses in that have got us so many goals. That's been the case. So I wouldn't put it down to Harry Smith or Aaron. It's a part us, part them.
In terms of the weekend, we saw Jordan Brown make his debut. Are we likely to see Ethan Coleman this weekend?
Yeah, he's cleared anyway, which is good, and he's fit and been playing regularly in the National League, which is good. Be a league debut, if he plays, but certainly one of these games, Saturday, Tuesday, next Saturday, he'll be there. He'll be coming up to Mansfield with us, and he's in the mix and fully fit and ready to go.
In terms of those wide areas, obviously we saw Otis Khan make his first start there. Were you impressed with what you saw?
Yeah, both the games so far for Otis. He's got maybe a little bit more league experience than the other boys coming in and some of our other players, because he's been at a few clubs and he shows that. But he's made a bright start to his Orient career, and I've been pleased with him. And as you say, just down the right hand side, he's shown quite a lot of quality in terms of his footballing ability, which is good.
Another player that can occupy a wide berth is Theo Archibald. We know he's been out of the squad with an injury. Is there any update on him? Yeah, he's training today. We'll see how he is. Whether he makes Saturday or next Tuesday will depend on how he trains on Thursday and Friday. I'll assess him then, see how he is. He is a fit lad, so I do think that it won't take him long, a few days training, but it's good to see him back out there. But today is his first day, and I'll assess it whether he needs maybe just a little bit more, and that puts him into the category of Tuesday.
Honest as always there from Kenny, and hopefully we'll have a positive post-match interview from him as well. But now kick-off is just under 5 minutes away. So let's remind ourselves of how the O's are lining up this afternoon. And in goal for Leyton Orient is number 22, Lawrence Vigouroux, returning to the side. Number 5, Dan Happy. 7, Paul Smith. 9, Harry Smith. 11, Theo Archibald also returns. Number 14, Otis Khan, making his second start for the club. Number 15, Alex Mitchell, and joining them in that back three, number 19 and captain Omar Beckles, and also returning is number 20, Raul Satorio. Jordan Brown also makes his second start for the O's this afternoon, and making his debut, number 34, Ethan Coleman. And on the bench for the O's, Sargent, Thompson, Kemp, Moss, Drynan, Young and Kiprianu. Now, we've spoken a lot about the lineup and the changes, Andrew, but looking at the bench, having a striker in Drynan with that many goals sitting on the bench it's great to have, and they're out there on the pitch now. It's It's a strong bench.
Yeah, it's a strong squad. It's good to see, and it means that should things not go completely our way in the first half, we'd be looking to make some changes, and you wouldn't be too concerned about any of those coming off the bench. So it's actually as strong a squad as we probably had all season, injuries aside.
And it's important that Orient make a fast start here, isn't it, Brendan?
Yeah, absolutely. Kenny will be looking to kind of put an impact on this team and show and improve on the last 2 games immediately. And if we can make a fast start, that'll be perfect.
It certainly will. Well, now kick-off is nearly upon us, so it's time to head over to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock. But join us back here at half-time. Come on, you O's.
Still be hearing us, so I can explain that there is a very large contingent of travelling supporters. And welcome to Phil Mild. It's a very important game, of course, both for the O's and